Have you been holding back, afraid to make waves, afraid to be noticed, afraid to be 100% unapologetically you? Well, our full moon in Leo with our Aquarius sun is here to eliminate your inner flame so you can crank up your radiance and own your own brilliance, even when it feels nerve wracking. If you're a subscriber, welcome back and thank you for joining me again. And if you're new here, welcome to Star Powered. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your host, a multiracial, multifaceted, professional musician turned web designer turned astrologer. Astrology has helped me overcome an identity crisis by revealing my star powered strengths. Now I use these strengths to guide healers, entrepreneurs, and change makers like you in making your mark with ease and impact through astrology. If equitable leadership, making your mark, and astrology are also your jam, please subscribe to this channel and share it with an astrology loving bestie. Welcome again, Luminary. Today's episode is a short and sweet episode about our Leo full moon that happens on Wednesday, February 12th. Well, you already know that a full moon is the time of the month where we can see things in full illumination. That's why our emotions run high, our thoughts are run high, everything feels really active because the light of that Aquarius sun is on full blast onto that Leo moon. And that Leo moon, ruled by the sun, wants to play big. And so this full moon is a really good time for us to illuminate and really look without judgment, with full open-hearted honesty, where you've been playing small, or maybe you've been second guessing yourself, or maybe even hiding your unique spark. And gosh, I am already feeling this personally myself. And this particular full moon is in a T square with Uranus. Now, Uranus, one of the co-rulers of Aquarius, we like to think of T squares as this kind of like a tense astrological formation. If you don't know what a T square it is I'll explain that to you later. But a T square is full of energy that dares you to take action. And with Uranus there, it brings that eclectic, electric, unpredictable energy that when we have the right intention, we can harness that energy and like really ride that wave as we're making waves. Now, this is the kind of energy with this full moon that really shakes things up and not only demands you not only demands you to make change, but dares you to make change. I don't want to be forced and demanded to do anything, but if you double dare me, you bet I'm going to make that change. Now, yes, it could feel a little uncomfortable, but that's how you know it's working. And to take that change, to take that leap into the unknown, it's always going to feel uncomfortable because the unknown is uncomfortable. If you need a little bit of refresher, I recorded an episode just that last time about how to use your moon sign to self regulate and self soothe so that you could take those big leaps of faith. Now, I know personally this energy right now with just playing small and hiding, I really feel that I've been coming out of this kind of season, the last year or the last 2 years of really going within. My mom passed away a couple of years ago. I heard recently a psychic say, oh, that first year you think that after somebody's passing, you're getting through all the first things, all these anniversaries, and that it's really hard. But the second year is when really you don't know what's going on. You feel kind of a little bit lower. And I really have felt that over the last 2 years, getting over, my mom's passing and coming back into myself finally. And so wanting to come back and looking at all of the places, trying to not judge myself for hiding over the last 2 years because I needed that. And then I had like another setback. So just a couple of days ago on Friday, I got a message from my editor saying that they needed to push back my book publishing release date for 6 months. So instead of spring of 2026, they wanted to release it in fall of 2026. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like at first, like my knee-jerk reaction was like, I just started like spiraling into like self-doubt. Like, does my work even matter? Why is this happening? I work so hard. My voice, I'm just gonna have all these other setbacks. Like, why am I like being invisible? Like I just go like deep into deep into the darkness. But I reached out, I remembered, I need to co-regulate myself. How can I take a step back using my own moon sign? I'm a Sagittarius moon. So, like, what's the bigger picture here? My Sagittarius moon and a lot of seventh house energies. Like, how can I reach out for support instead of just being isolated in my own like self-pity party? I reached out to some of my author friends. I reached out to like Colette Baron Reed, who, has written so many books and so many decks. And she was just like, trust the book publishing date. It's the birth date. It's all going to be so beautiful, that divine timing. And then I reached out to Teresa Reed, the tarot lady, and I was like, help, I need some advice. What am I going to do? And she's like, let's just find other opportunities. There's going to be more opportunities. You have this like full path, a little bit more time to get your book just right, a little more time to get your strategy for your launch just right, a little more time to start, working on your visibility again just right. And I was like, I finally was able to settle myself. When I say finally, like this happened all in like the course of like an hour, which is great because like oftentimes these kind of setbacks, I would have been like derailed for like weeks, but I was derailed for only an hour. And now I didn't see it as a setback. Instead, I saw it as an opportunity. And so why am I telling you all of this? Well, because this particular full moon, this is what this full moon is asking you to eliminate. What can you not only like reframe in your doubts, but how can you stop dimming your own light? As I was telling you that story, I hope you could hear how I was gaslighting myself. I was gaslighting myself saying, oh, my message is not important. Oh, my voice doesn't matter. Oh, nobody wants to hear from me, right? That gaslighting comes from a bunch of different places. And actually, just another plug. The next episode that I have dropping for you is this interview with David Bedrick, who wrote The Unshaming Way, this amazing book. And we go full into how we like gaslight ourselves and how like society's social constructs allow us to gaslight ourselves. So make sure you're tuning in for that episode that's coming right up after this episode. But coming back to this Leo full moon, it's like, how can we stop dimming our own light? Because if the full moon is illuminating Leo for us, and Leo wants to shine brightly, this full moon is also showing us all the ways we've been dimming our own light. And instead of dimming our own light, as we kind of without judgment, seeing like how we've been hiding, how we've been silencing ourselves, how we can flip on the switch to its full brightness. Leo full moon is not waiting for permission. And so Leo full moon wants you to not wait for permission. It's absolutely about stepping into your own unique power, because when you shine, you give others permission to do the same. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the astrology of this full moon, including that T-square with Uranus, one of the co-rulers. We're going to be looking at Saturn, the other co-ruler, and how it's trining an easy aspect with Mars. I'll be looking at that Sun and Mercury conjunction in Aquarius, and then we'll also be looking at the Neptune conjunction with the North Node, all happening on this full moon of February 12th. Then we'll be talking about our full moon reflections. You know that I'm all about hearing the stars ask you questions. And these stars can be our coaches, they can be our advocates, and they're always asking us questions if we listen carefully. So I'll be asking the questions for each of the signs according to for this full moon, so that you can reflect on how you are here to dare to make some waves. So before we get in, I have to plug my upcoming class, my 5-day training, Astro Brand 101, formerly called written in the stars. Now, Astrobrand is my method of looking at astrology for leadership, for making your mark with ease and impact. And the first step into my whole Astrobrand method is understanding and decoding the symbols of your natal chart. So, to set yourself up for decoding and reading those symbols before you even start interpreting. And symbolism matters because if you struggle to see yourself in the old fashioned way of looking at astrology, whether it's outdated binaries of masculine and feminine, or oppressive good or bad, or language that doesn't recognize your full complexity, let me tell you, you're not alone. If we can't decode astrology in a way that reflects our multiplicity, our lived experience, and our leadership potential, then how are we ever going to interpret it for our own strengths and our own good? So, my whole goal with Astrobrand 101 is to give the power back to you, to your identity, to your strengths, and to your gifts that may have been overlooked because you come from an underrepresented background, just like me. Can't tell you how many times I have been overlooked simply because I am me. Well, no more, because we are in the age of Aquarius, and in the age of Aquarius, we are all leaders. But first, we must recognize the symbols of our power. This is where Astrobrand 101 comes in. I want to teach the world how to decode and liberate the symbols of astrology so that you can be set up to interpret them with confidence, accuracy, and alignment. In Astrobrand 101, I'm going to show you how to decode and recognize the zodiacs as archetypal energies that in a holistic way, because you have every single zodiac in your chart. We're going to be taking a look at the planets as processes of change, the DNA of your strengths. We're going to take a look at the houses as areas of influence, where you make your impact. And we'll be taking a look at the aspects as opportunities of growth. Not bad, not good, not easy, not hard, because these are the gifts of effort and ease. Even though I've taught Written in the Stars to over 300 students in the past 4 years, I have never taught it like I'm going to teach it on the week of March 10th. Whether you're brand new to astrology or a seasoned professional, this class is going to expand your perspective of the cosmic symbols and set you up to interpret your star-powered strength so that you can make your mark in the world with aligned ease and impact. So if you want to join me for Astrobrand 101, it's pay what you can. It's time to see yourself in your stars. So head on over to starpowered.com/101 and register now. Okay, my friends, let's take a look at the astrology of this upcoming full moon. Remember that I live in San Francisco, so I created this chart from my perspective here in San Francisco. Please disregard the houses because unless you're living in San Francisco in the West Coast, we'll be talking about the aspects that the planets will be making during this full moon. The full moon happens on Wednesday, February 12th at 5:53 a.m. Pacific. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the chart of this beautiful, electrifying full moon. You can see that the full moon in Leo opposes Aquarius sun, as well as Mercury conjunct the sun at 24 and 26 degrees of Aquarius. And then we have Uranus. Uranus still at that 23-degree mark of Taurus. So hello, fixed signs. You're definitely going to be feeling this. Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio people. Whew, we are going to be feeling this kind of electrifying need to shake things up. And so you can see what I mean by a T-square. A T-square happens when we have two planets opposing each other. And so full moon is always the sun and the moon opposing each other in the polar opposite zodiacs. And then Uranus is making a square with those opposing planets. So it's making a square with both of those planets on each of that face-off and kind of acting like a referee, sort of to say, like all energy is pointing to Uranus. And Uranus is already kind of like that. I just thinking of like Ben Franklin, that kind of that it's not a meme, but it's like a myth of Ben Franklin flying that kite with a metal key attached to the kite during an electrical storm. So that metal key is like the beacon, the energy that all of that electrical storm, that lightning bolt is going to like hit that key. Well, that's Uranus in this T square. And Uranus is already like a double daring kind of energy, a disruptive energy, a persistent energy, one that likes to shake things up, to revolutionize and awaken. Where Leo is really about shining bright, shining your brilliance, radiating your natural talent, and appreciating, like wanting to be noticed, be seen. And Aquarius is like, I want to be known for my differences. Okay. But when we have all of this fixed energy, including Scorpio, there is a knowing. You cannot tell Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, or Taurus what to do. You cannot, like I said in the beginning of the episode, you can't demand them to do anything, because they're going to put, especially like I can just see like Taurus, like just digging their heels into the ground. They're saying like, F that, I'm not going to do something if you demand it. But if you double dare me to do it, ooh, I'll think about it, because now all of a sudden the initiative is on me and I have control of what I know. And so all of those fixed energies have this knowing energy. The Leo has that creative knowing. The Aquarius as an air sign has that intellectual knowing. That Scorpio as that water sign has the emotional knowing. And the Taurus as the earth sign has that my body absolutely knows. And so when we have this T square during this full moon, this Uranus is saying, what do you know? And what are you double daring yourself to shake things up? Because ultimately, the full moon's core message is, how can you shine more brightly? Like, we're illuminating like all the ways we haven't been shining more brightly, all the ways that we've been hiding. And like, how can we decide to shine more brightly with courage? Well, Uranus there is just going to amp things up, because Uranus is asking, especially with that T square, what do you dare shake up to be noticed? Okay. Now you've heard like the old sayings that all PR is good PR, even if it's bad PR. And maybe you were watching on the was it the Grammys? I think it was the Grammys, and Kanye West whispering to his wife, and there was like lip readers who were saying, "Oh, go cause a scene, go cause a scene." Well, maybe I don't necessarily want you to cause a scene, but what is that energy for you to, in your own way, cause a scene? So yeah, maybe I'm asking you to cause a scene. Maybe you're not going to be strutting your stuff naked. That's not how I'm going to be doing it. But how do you dare to cause a scene? How do you dare to shake things up? And when we are thinking about just like our leadership, whether like you're a healer or you're an entrepreneur, like what is your way? What is your way that is so different? Your approach, your way, your method, your background story that is so different that you dare to shake things up in your way. That is exactly how you are going to shine more brightly. So take that seed of a question and ask yourself, how can you shine more brightly? Right? Like really look at all the ways you've been like turning off the dimmer on your light, right? How can you amp that up? And what do you dare shake up? How are you going to make a scene? How do you dare yourself to make a scene? Because, right, making a scene takes bravery, just like Kanye's wife to walk out naked onto the red carpet. Like, how do you dare make a scene? Now, again, I'm not saying to go do that necessarily within your means, but how do you want to make a scene? Now, Uranus is that co-ruler. So all that energy, all that electrical energy in that T square is going to Uranus and just daring you. And so, with that daring, because Uranus is embodied, I want you to feel so grounded in your body, creating that comfort for yourself. Now, you don't need to be a Taurus moon to give yourself a big hug or to use your weighted blankets or, to eat something within reason that's decadent, that's going to calm your nervous system down. I think this is going to be all really great self-soothing for all of us during this full moon. Just whenever you're feeling that kind of like extra oof, like give yourself a nice tight hug. The Uranus in Taurus is going to really appreciate that. Now, the other co-ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. Right. So Uranus is the modern co ruler, and Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. Now, Saturn ruling both Capricorn and Aquarius, in Saturn and Capricorn, likes to create the rules, likes to create the structures. Well, Saturn in Aquarius likes to break the rules. But in order to break the rules, you first need to know what the rules are and to know exactly where to break them. And this is where the beauty comes in, because Saturn here is making a beautiful trine to Mars. Now, what I was saying in when I was talking about Astro Brand 101, and we're looking at these different aspects, remember the aspects are simply just relationships between planets. And while we might know oppositions or squares as being challenging or hard, these energies have so much momentum, so much power, so much energy to move things forward and get things done. Whereas trines that are supposed to be easy can also be super complacent if you're not consciously using that energy. And so Saturn and Mars, usually the bad boys of the zodiac, right? Saturn likes to tighten things up and contract things, and Mars likes to cut things. We can look at Saturn turning doubt into mastery and Mars turning anxiety into excitement and motivation. And so these two energies are super determined, and they are at this beautiful trine. And notice that this trine is a water trine. They are both in emotional signs, Cancer and Pisces, intuitive, emotionally intellectual, sensitive, compassionate. There's the softness that we need to have to create our own empathy and our own compassion that will give us that determination. And so when we have Saturn, the co-ruler in Pisces, trining with Mars in Cancer, we have this emotional, unshakable determination. And so the question that Saturn and Mars are asking you is, what unshakable determination do you now have? Like, you just have to have this. At an emotional level, if you don't have this, your needs are not going to be met. So what unshakable, determined action and commitment do you now have to shining more brightly? That Leo moon. Okay. All of these questions are all serving. How can you shine more brightly? How can you dare to shake things up and cause a scene to shine more brightly? What unshakable, determined action do you now have to shine more brightly? Now, you'll also notice in this chart that we have the sun conjunct Mercury. Mercury and the sun are always very close to each other, so it's not uncommon for Mercury to be conjoined the sun. And so with Mercury conjoined the sun right now, that means that our thinking is electric, because this is now in Aquarius. Our nervous system is like on full blast, like maybe your Kundalini energy, maybe you're getting those shivers down your spine because you're just getting all of these downloads. Like, that update is happening really quickly and your Wi-Fi is working at full blast. So things are just coming through, downloads. And so when you think about the Mercury conjunct the sun, What new downloads are undeniable? Now, for me, I love to, in my morning shower, I get all my downloads. When I'm on my walk and in nature, I get my downloads. When I'm hearing the birds, whether it be the crows or like the pretty little birds singing, and I'm getting downloads. I'm recognizing those signs and I'm recognizing them as downloads that are feeding into my how am I going to cause a scene? How am I going to be different? How am I going to shake things up? And so for you, I want you to notice the signs. Maybe you're feeling it in your body. Maybe you're feeling it in your mind. A lot will have to do with where your Mercury is. My Mercury is in Pisces. My emotions tell me a lot. And so what downloads are you now getting? Recognize the signs and know that those downloads are happening fast. Write them down, make them undeniable. If you don't write them down, if you don't get them out of your mind, they might fly away. And the last thing that I want to talk about this particular lunation, there's so many things going on, but I really want to talk about this Neptune conjunct the North Node. Both in Pisces, their exact conjunction happened a few days ago. Neptune, the planet of interconnectedness, Neptune, the planet that turns disillusionment into beautiful interconnectedness, and the North Node, our collective soul purpose, because this is the collective North Node in Pisces. The collective North Node in Pisces is saying for all of us to really come into our own compassion, to have that self-compassion for ourselves, to feel interconnected, that we're all a part, a drop in this larger ocean. We all have this part. We all need to work together to create universal love. That is the collective message for all of us right now. And Neptune there, the one of the modern co-ruler of Pisces, ruler of this North Node, is saying, this one love. How are we all part of this? How are we all connected to the universe? And so the question that they are asking is, to what cosmic purpose are you now connected? It relates back to how can you shine more brightly by living your purpose. It relates back to the age of Aquarius with this Pluto going through Aquarius for the next 20 or so years, is like, how are you meant to lead in your own unique way? And so what do you now feel about your consciousness that is now connected to this cosmic purpose? And how does that help you shine more brightly? And so you see how all these questions are really just details of folding, an unfolding, a taking another level deeper so that you can start to recognize how you're meant to shine more brightly. So you can recognize all the ways that you've been gaslighting yourself and not shining more brightly. Okay. And so this Leo full moon is asking you to shine more brightly. How do you dare to shake things up? What unshakable determination do you now have? What new downloads are undeniable? And to what cosmic purpose are you now connected and contributing to? Okay, my friends, what a beautiful, electrifying full moon. Now, if you want more questions, more reflection questions, I have a few more full moon reflection questions for you to add to that. I love reflecting. I love journaling. Maybe you do too. You don't have to write things out. Maybe you can, send yourself a voice memo. Maybe you can just think about things as you're walking, taking your morning walk, however this works for you. If this full moon reflection questions help you, please let it help you. I'll be looking at these full moon reflections in the cosmic polarities, the zodiacal polarities, because this full moon is activating the polarity of Aquarius and Leo. And so I'll be reading these reflections for Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, Gemini, Sagittarius. And so I write these for your rising signs. So if they don't exactly fit, maybe you have a later or earlier rising sign, listen to the one before or after. Use your intuition and trust what reflection questions are right for you. So the first polarity, Aries and Libra. I want you to reflect on letting go of the belief that I can't do what I want. So, have you been thinking about, like, I can't do this, I can't do that? And instead, I want you to believe that engaging in your passions uplifts all of humanity, following your bliss. For my Taurus and Scorpio friends, I want you to let go of the belief that I have to do what everyone else is doing to be successful. I'll say that again. I have to do what everyone else is doing to be successful. If that's your belief, I want you to untangle that, let that go. And instead, I want you to believe that you are now building a new way of doing business. For my Gemini and Sagittarius friends, I want you to reflect and let go of the belief that no one cares what I have to say. Okay, just hold on for a second, because I write these so far in advance. And as I'm reading them and telling the story of what just happened, you can't make this up. Remember, I was sharing about all of my inner beliefs, how I started spiraling when I got that bad news. Well, not so bad news, about pushing back my publishing deadline. Well, I'm a Gemini rising, and I'm listening to this medicine that I wrote for myself. I guess I wrote it for myself, that I was just writing for Gemini. Let go of the belief that no one cares what I have to say. Oh my gosh. So if this is you, Gemini or Sagittarius, let go of the belief that no one cares what I have to say. And instead, believe that even if one person hears me, my message has a ripple effect on the world. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a download. I'm getting a chill right now. Okay, for my Cancer Capricorn friends, I want you to let go of the belief that there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough resources to fill in the blank, whatever that is, whatever your big dream is. I want you to let go of that belief that there's not enough resources, time, money, or other resources. And instead, I want you to open up to the belief that I invest in what I value, and the return is tenfold. I invest in what I value, and the return is tenfold. For my Leo Aquariuses, I want you to let go of the belief, why me? And I want you to instead believe, why not me? Right. And so this is a powerful one that can go in so many different ways. So I want you to trust into what this means for you. If you've been thinking, why me? Why me? Why me? Or, maybe it's even the why not me? Like, why am I suffering like this? Or why haven't I been chosen? I want you to think about the opposite. Why isn't it me to do something this big? Why not me to share this with the world? Okay, so this one, there's a little bit of freedom, but I want you to really look at your limiting beliefs about why you or why not you. For my Virgo Pisces friends, I want you to let go of the belief that I'm never going to keep up with all the change. Things are moving so fast right now. So instead, I want you to believe that if I follow my intuition, I make change. Okay. When I follow my intuition, I make change. So, my friends, I hope that you find some beauty in this full moon. I hope you spend some time looking and illuminating all the ways that you can maybe have been holding your light back so that you can raise up the volume on the light, the brightness of your light. And I really want you to remember that this is your time. The more that you put into reflection and understanding and choosing different ways of doing things, letting things go, maybe bringing more things in, whatever that means for you, that the more reflection that you have on, reflection is a strategy. And the more time that you reflect, the more time you are using to be strategic in your change making work. And so the last thing that I want to leave is that I am celebrating my birthday this week. My solar return is on February 14th. Yes, I'm a Valentine's baby, and I find that so ironic, but I'm a true Aquarian. And if you remember that my birthday holds extra significance because I started my podcast back in February 14th of 2020, right before the world shut down. I threw an amazing launch party in San Francisco to launch my podcast. At the time, it was called The Savvy Luminary. So approaching 5 years of this podcast and my 51st birthday. Thank you for being with me on this journey and being in my orbit. Your support means the world to me. Now, while I don't need a gift, who doesn't love a little bit of cosmic love? If you feel called, I'd be over the moon if you help share my work with your community. After my season of deep transformation that I shared earlier, I'm finally coming out of my shell and ready to shine brightly again. And as a projector, human design projector, my energy thrives on invitations and referrals. So here's how you can help spread the stardust. You could buy my self-published book for a friend who needs it. The book is called Star Powered Brand, because my new book's not coming out until 2026 in the fall. So, head on over. It's an inexpensive book. Buy it for a friend, buy it for yourself. Star Powered Brand. You could leave a review of my book. Your words help it reach more people. You could leave a review of this podcast. That makes a huge difference. You could subscribe to this YouTube channel and leave some comments or tag some friends for Astro Insights and leadership wisdom. You could tag me on Instagram. I love seeing how leadership and astrology shows up for you. Or head on over to LinkedIn and connect with me there. Let's build powerful networks together. Your support is truly the best gift. Thank you so much for being in my cosmic crew. All right, my friends, have a most beautiful Leo full moon, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.